Hello students. So in the yesterday's class we started with the new poem in your syllabus, Water by Chellapalli Swarupa Rani. Okay. So we had studied about the author Swarupa Rani and the translator Uma Brugabunda, and we also saw how the Dalit women will face so much difficulties to express their feelings and share their experience. Okay, so and it was she being a Telugu poet and a Dalit woman, Swarupa Rani being a Telugu poet and a Dalit woman, she tries to showcase or portray their difficulties, struggles that they have to face by being Dalit women. They are double suppressed. Okay, so we will see how the poem shows the discrimination done for the lower caste or the panchamas. Okay, so there are two questions in the pre-reading activity, so we shall see that once. So here there are two questions about pre-reading activity. Recall the poems you have read where water has been used as a metaphor. So yeah, there were in schools or in different times you might have read many poems about the water being used as a metaphor. So metaphor is nothing but when you make a direct comparison between one thing another and another thing. So you can for example, a snow is like a white blanket. Snow is a white blanket and he is a superstar. So there is lot of direct comparison between he being a superstar and snow being a white blanket. Okay, so these are some of the examples of metaphors. So you just think that you might have read some poems or in schools or in somewhere. Okay, yeah, then the next thing is water is both preserver and destroyer. Okay, so I think everyone has to agree for this, because yeah, without water is a basic necessity for human being, animals, birds, and all the living organisms. Okay, and without water we cannot live, and it is basic necessity. Okay, it is a preserver. We have to preserve water because there might be days where there will be scarcity of water. Okay, and it is also a destroyer because we have seen tsunamis, floods, earthquakes. Okay, so floods and tsunamis, it destroys lot and lots of things. Okay, lots and lots of things, and people have died, they have lost their belongings, they have lost their property, and yeah, their relatives, their family. Okay, many people have lost their belongings, family, because of tsunami, flood. Okay, so this is how it can be both a preserver and a destroyer. Okay, so once I will read the poem and we can see, we can start with the poem. Just as the water knows the ground's incline, it knows the generations old strife between the village and the vada, like the dampness on the well's edge that never dries. It knows that untouchability never disappears. The water knows everything. It knows the difference of race between the Samaria woman and the Jesus the Jew. It also knows the subcaste difference between leather and the spool. Okay, so we shall do this two paragraphs today, and yeah. Okay, so the water is her, the Swarupa Rani. It is her translated piece, Water by Uma Brugabunda, is a metaphor, uses water as a metaphor that shows the plight of untouchables in our society. Okay, so this poem, the water, shows not shows the plight of the untouchables in our society, the Dalits. Okay, they are called as untouchables, and as I already told you before in the last class, that there were four varnas in the caste system. They are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Dalits, the untouchables, are called as the Panchama. Okay, the Panchamas were not allowed to draw water from the wells. They suffer humiliation at the hands of Kamma landlords. Okay, so these Dalits, these untouchables, and the Panchamas used to suffer a lot. Okay, so they used to suffer like they were humiliated, they were suppressed. Okay, objectified. Okay, so this is what is the plight of the Panchamas, the untouchables. So we shall see how the water becomes metaphor in the poem. Okay, this is the first para. Just as the water knows the ground's incline, it knows the generations old strife between the village and the Vada, like the dampness on the well's edge that never dries, it knows that untouchability never disappears. So here, water highlights, okay, water poem by Swarupa Rani. There, water is used as a metaphor. Okay, so water highlights the gender discrimination that existed from times immemorial. Okay, so it has been there for generations. Okay, it is not just for now, it is not just for at present. Okay, so it has been there for many generations. Okay, and then she tries to explain with many comparisons, and the first one is, so here Swarupa Rani tries to explain that water is a metaphor by making comparisons. Okay, so the first one she compares is, the water is aware of the ground's incline and it knows how people have struggled through generations, and this is compared to dampness that always exists near the well as the part never dries. Okay, so here the fight for the water is there for from generations. Okay, and the water is aware of the ground's incline. Ground's incline is where slopes, it flows towards down, the water always flows downwards. Okay, so how deep, how the water slopes towards the downwards, similarly the water knows the depth of discrimination done to the Dalits. Okay, and it knows how the discrimination is existed in the society from generations. Okay, it is just like a war. Got it? And how people have struggled through generations. Okay, so this thing, the ground's incline and the war that existed from generations, it is compared to the dampness on the well. Okay, so before that, the fight is between the village and the Vada. Okay, so the village is where the people from the upper caste live. Okay, and the Vada is community of Dalits. So there is a fight between the upper caste and lower caste. There is always a discrimination and suppression done towards the lower caste. So here the war is between the village and the Vada. The Vada is the community of Dalits. Okay, so the fight is compared to the, or the discrimination done to the Dalits is compared to the dampness on the well's edge that never dries. So near the well, because everyone goes and fetches the water repeatedly. Okay, they often fetch the water, and there are many peoples in the village. So near the well there will always be the sand, and the surrounding of the well will always be wet. Okay, it always be watery. Okay, so there will always be water in the surroundings of the well, because many people go and fetch the water. Okay, so how the water content will be there, and and the surroundings of the well will never dry. Similarly, untouchability will never disappear. Okay, it knows, the water knows that untouchability will never disappear. Okay, and Yeah, so the dampness on the well's edge is, and the in which it never dries, is directly compared to the discrimination that is never going to end. Okay, discrimination will never end. Got it? So the next para, the water knows everything. It knows the difference of race between the Samaria woman and Jesus the Jew. It also knows that the subcaste difference between leather and spool. So here, wateness is become witness. Okay, water is a witness to the difference of race between. So it shows the water is become witness. It is witnessing the difference of race, which the water is seeing from generations. Okay, and it sees the difference of race between the Samaritan woman and Jesus the Jew. Okay, it is believed. So what is the content of bringing Samaria woman and Jesus the Jew here is to show the difference of race. So this thing, okay, this Samaritan woman and Jesus the Jew, it is believed that the Samaria women are supposed to be the ones who are treated very badly as they belong to the lower caste. Okay, so Samaritan women, they were treated very badly and they belong to the lower caste, and it is believed that Jesus, who was offered water from such a lady, was gracious enough to accept it. So Jesus was offered, okay, was offered water from the Samaritan woman. So Samaritan woman was from the lower caste and Jesus was a Jew. Okay, they also are the Jews, but Jesus was from the upper caste and Samaritan woman was from the lower caste. Okay, so yeah, Jesus had was offered, I mean, he was thirsty and he asked Samaritan woman to pour water for him, and he drinks water from the pots of the Samaritan woman. So this by this Jesus tries to say that, see, the blood exists in every one of our body is the color of the red. Okay, everyone has blood in a red color, and why do you discriminate people based on caste? Okay, so this shows in a very well said, because so how Jesus accepts water from Samaritan woman, it was gracious enough to accept it, that there is that we should not accept this kind of, or we should not do this kind of discrimination. Okay, so and the water also knows the subcaste difference between leather and the spool. Okay, so here water is also aware of the difference that exists between the leather and the spool. Leather is the cobbler, one who stitches our chappals, shoes, bags. Okay, and the spool is one who uses spindles and weaves the sweater or clothes. Okay, so they all belong to the subcaste. Okay, so now the water witness the difference in race of the upper caste. Okay, and it also witnessed the difference in subcaste. Okay, so subcaste is where the leather, I mean the cobbler and the weavers belongs to, and it means that even the subcaste difference is very clearly highlighted. Okay, so the water has seen all these things. Okay, difference between Samaritan woman and the Jesus, and the subcaste difference between the cobbler and the weaver. So here water witnesses all the things. Okay,